Okay, so today I'm going to be drawing Lady Gaga's face, and what I started off with is basically I just drew a head at angles that it would be, and I'm just going to go over measuring it. And what you can do that is just with a regular pencil. You don't need anything much. And you kind of want it to be big in the face. That's what I'm focusing on, to cover like the whole page. So the way I measure her head is I'm going to start off with the pencil tip at like, say that her head is a big circle, well, about the skull part. I measure through her eyes, and it stops her face about right there where my fingers are. So right across the line there, and that matches, it'll be right here, so I'm gonna have to go back over and go off my left hand here. It's kind of hard. Just gonna mark where I'm gonna need to cross over. And now from about the top of her head down the center where her chin meets is about all the way to the end of the pencil tip. Right there. So yeah, I can make that a little bit smaller. Up about there. And then we're gonna measure from the bottom of her earlobes, which is kind of like where the bottom of her lip is also. And about right there. So measure there. We're gonna mark where her earlobes are. And I can just cut across over here. And that's what we're doing. So now we're gonna focus on the details. So in proportion to where her hair would be, we would make it, well, I'm gonna draw on this picture just a little bit to show you. We draw kind of a circle. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but we draw a circle there, and that's kind of where the tip of her lips start right here. So her bangs start at about, I'm going to say, a third of the circle. I don't know how you'd put that, but yeah, just about right there. So back on the drawing, we're going to separate the circle into thirds. That's about 1/3, 2/3, and that's, I know it's not very thing, but it's going to be very sketchy for the measuring parts. I forgot to do that for the head. Narrow down her chin because she has a very slender face. Don't want to mark off that earlobe thing. Put that there. So her bangs, we're going to go back. They're kind of at a curve. And there's a dip in there. We're going to put it at a sort of a curve. Just a line. Just draw that so we know they're bangs. And her bangs kind of come a bit off her head. So we're going to mark that over there. And put on this side just a bit. Fits her head very nice. And at the top, it kind of, you can see this shadow right here, that it's not totally connecting to her head. And there's a dip in the center. So you're going to come up here, and every hair, like every hairstyle, comes off a bit of your head. It's not totally flat formed on top of your head. You're gonna put it to the center, make a dip there, just continue off your skull. And that should be just about where her bangs are. So now, before we get into any details of the face, what we're gonna do is focus on the neck. And now, while we're looking at the neck, normally what I like to do, continue it up her head and make it look like a giraffe. Hold on, I don't want to use my left hand for that. I'm right-handed. And we're just going to continue all the way up. And about right there where her face stops is a good place to put it. So that's kind of where her neck would start, or stop, I guess. So what we have measuring, not her ear, but just the tip where it would be, is that's probably where it would start, like right there. So I'm just gonna mark those off, and they'll be right. Okay, so I drew the neck, and I'm just gonna go quickly over what I did. Is I had the marks down the side of her face, her sideburns, and I just as I did over here, I made them continue, and that's kind of like where the gap is from her ear, over here, and that's where her neck would start off to be. And I watched the curves of the neck. You might be thinking that it's straight, but a neck is never straight, ever. It always has these curves or something in it. So this way it's coming kind of a curve like that, but not as sharp. Just a little tilted. And this side, it even curves outward a bit. And it continues down the side of her shoulder, I guess. So that's how I made it. I'm not going to do her whole body in the picture, so it doesn't really matter if it's kind of off her neck. You might want to though. And so now we're just going to focus on the eyebrows. Over here we have this line. I think we put that as half of the circle that we made in the skull. See, all the lines come in handy when you're drawing the face. And so that's the second third of the circle. And that would be right across her eyes. They should be. So that's what we're going to draw. And a good way for marking this would be how we put the neck over here, you can see. Measure that again. And that would be just about right there where it's going to start. So we come over here to the neckline, and on the line right here, and that's where it's going to start. Then go to the other side and measure that. It's at an angle, so it's going to be a different measurement. Don't just skip it and try the other, because she's going to look all deformed and weird. So we have less of a gap. So on the side again, and it would be about right there. So now she looks like a cartoon character. And then we always go down the center of a head. I think I already marked this on her, down to her chin. And that's where the center of her head would be. And it's already here. Her head is at a curve, so it's not going to be a straight line. And we're going to find from that center where the tips of her inside of the eyes would be, I guess, as you would call them. And that's about it. She's right there. So keep that mark. And there you go. Then from the other side, it's going to hurt my arm a bit. We have about right there. Now back on this side. That's about it. And that's the marking of her eyes. And they're very, I want to say slanted, or thin, I guess. And then, so what we're going to do is measure the length of her eyes up and down. Normally, her pupils are looking straight at us, so we're going to measure right in the middle of the pupils. And we have a very small gap of space. Hold on, I lost my measurement. Here we go. It's just about the pencil lead. So I'm going to put it just like that on the line. And that's where it should be. Now I left the mark right there. And measure the other side and do the same. And just a bit that way. Should be the same measurements, just about. And those will be her eyes. Okay, now we're focusing on her nose. And her nose is kind of an upturned pig kind of way. And what we're gonna do is, well, since she's kind of looking up at us in a snooty sort of way, Lady Gaga way, what we're gonna do is measure the tip of kind of like where the shadow ends on her nose right here. And we're gonna measure it from right there. And up to where the tip of the, well, I guess the top of her nose, which is kind of right there, right about there where my nail is. So we don't want to lose that measurement. And, well, I guess you want to, before we do that, where her nose is, just about. And basically, well, another way to do this, in case you're stuck, is see where we put the circle, end of a circle right there, the lip is. Before you do the nose, actually, I kind of raced ahead. In the center of it, measure up to where the tip of the bottom of the nose is. So it's about right there. So measure from the bottom of the circle, just about there. And it should be right about here. So her nose is going to start. And then, like I said, where was the tip of it? Up to about there is kind of where the shadow is. There's no really exact way her nose is. I mean, this is probably the, I want to call it the ball of the nose. I don't know if that's the right thing for it. If you know the exact word, then be happy to tell me. I do not mind. Okay, and so I'm just going to kind of measure at the top of the ball, as I'm going to call it. And that's just about the whole tip of the pencil. So we'll come over here. I don't really need to hold it. And just about, there it is. Now I'm not going to make this a definite line like the last one, because we can't really tell. It's basically just a whole bunch of shadows that make it up, you know. It's not a very exact line. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my right hand for this, because I'm better with my right hand. And I'm just going to draw a ball for her nose right now, very lightly, not hard. And that'll be the ball. And now what we're going to do is measure the width of her nose. It should be, I'm going to measure it down below first. Be right there. It's like kind of the whole tip of the pencil. I mean, the tip of your pencil might be longer, so don't take my exact measurements. You could be doing a different picture. So, it's right there. And then we're going to measure from the widest point on her nose. There we go. It's a bit wider than the last time. So I'm just going to draw curves from the last measurement that we made. And then we'll continue her nose later on. Now she looks like it's that guy, the surgeon one where you can't hurt him or his nose lights up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then never mind, it's just nonsense. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is the lips. So I'm just going to touch up the nose a little bit, and then we're going to do the lips.